Iron Germ presents the Iron Tonight Show, sponsored by Galaxy Gas. If you want to get gassy, get Galaxy Gas.
Hey guys, it's Iron Germ, and Joker 2 is certainly a catastrophic event. Before I saw Joker 2, I was downright shocked by the reception it had. It only made me worried of how bad this movie could possibly be.
Not just that, but I was also shocked by how horrible the box office numbers were for this movie. It started off worse than The Flash. It only did slightly better than The Marvels. That's right. Joker 2, a sequel to one of the best DC movies ever, made $1 billion in the box office, highest grossing R-rated movie of all time at one point. Its sequel only made slightly more money than the biggest MCU flop of all time.
Damn! Joker 2 is something I can't avoid, and Joker 1 was one of my favorite movies of all time. So I was curious as to how bad they could have messed the sequel. Well, after seeing it, I for sure have a lot to say about it. Like, such as, it's about Arthur Fleck, it has Harley Quinn in it, a rape scene. I can't do this anymore. Is there anyone I could call? Should I? There has to be someone else I could call. My physics teacher? No. I have no other choice. Call on me.
Hello, Iron.
Hey, Omni. It's been a bit. I need help reviewing Joker 2 right now, so I was wondering, could you help me? This is gonna be terrible.
Hey, Iron.
Hey, Omni! Why do you always have to be so annoying and weird?
Just the, hey on me would have been nice. But oh well. I guess things are always gonna be the same between us. Well, me being the all-knowing you who doesn't know much about anything or anyone for that matter, it just works.
Whatever, just take the makeup off already. I can't have that on my family-friendly show.
Listen, Iron, this is the look I've embraced ever since you threw me out of your house.
Rightfully so.
You have two choices, Iron. My beautiful face or your physics teacher.
I guess I have no choice, but here are the rules. No cursing, no off-color material, we do a clean show, alright?
Of course, Iron.
Alright, good. Wait for me at the stairs.
Iron, one small thing.
Yeah?
When you bring me out, could you introduce me as Johnny?
Johnny?
Of course. Joker and Omni.
I knew what you meant, and I know you're deranged. Sorry for the interruption. Back to our special review with special guest, Omniscient. Johnny. Alright, Johnny. Tell us about Joker 2. What'd you think?
Sure thing. Joker 2 is one of the best movies I've seen this year.
With a take that high tried to burn the audience?
Well, I really liked it, Iron.
Well, where would you rank it on the top 30 list?
Top 5.
Well, could you at least tell us why?
Where do I start?
So, it's a musical. So what? Your question should be, is it a good musical? It is.
if you just don't like musicals, if you can't name a movie or production you like that's a musical at all, then leave the conversation, because you were never going to like this. That's like trying to discuss the quality of the Snyder Cut and saying, oh, just a preface, I don't like superheroes at all. Shut up! Go back to your cave.
Monkey.
But if you can name some that you liked, then let me prove why this was a good one. First off,
First things first.
okay, but why make a musical? Why make anything a musical? Music can embody emotion and the movement of the soul. An instrumental can bring you to tears or fill you with hope. That's why I cried during Body 2 in the Nutcracker.
You're a bitch.
But I've sobbed plenty of times over straight dialogue. You don't need music. And so why make any story a musical? Because the author wanted to utilize that art form. The sensory emotion music births to really swell us up. And because the lighthearted songs would be fun, engaging, and entertaining in a new way. I argue Joker 2 accomplishes all of these things. Not to mention, in the Iron Prep, Anorak talks about how dancing and music is an essential factor to understanding the story of Joker 1.
I would argue this narcissistic edge drives a huge portion of the plot, and it all comes down to dancing. The first dancing scene when he shoots the wall, Arthur finally feels empowered, and so he does what will become the definitive signal of his feeling of recognition. He dances. Same thing when he kills the boys. Killing someone is one way to make them truly notice you, and now that he feels noticed, what does he do? Dances in the bathroom. It is violence, like he just showed, which gets him seen. And now, feeling seen, he does what? You guessed it, dances.
Joker 1 had singing and dancing. It was damn near a jukebox musical. And it was one all while Arthur was on his rise towards Jokerhood. It only makes sense that as he fully embraces the Joker image, something he only did for a second at the end of the last one, it would evolve exponentially into this. Final point about music. I've heard it said that all the characters should say exactly what they're thinking. And yeah.
I've got the world on a string, got that string around my finger. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me.
Who could that be? Bagel delivery.
This isn't exactly Hamilton, telling its whole story in song and thus having these nuanced and narrative tracks. Joker uses the other 2 hours of slow courtroom and psychological drama to cover as much. The music itself is less narrative than shows like Falsettos, but I think it's concerned with the other uses of music that I discussed earlier. But to dismiss the songs as simple pleasure and emotion and vibes without narrative purpose shows a complete lack of analysis, something Joker 2 haters haven't had an 8th grade class on yet. I would say a majority, at least a half, of the songs have strong narrative weight. The running motif of Harley using "that's entertainment" to show her narcissistic selfishness, like when it first plays just as she burns Arkham to get attention from Joker and the world as Girl Joker, then it plays again when she waltzes into the courtroom because she's elated that now she's a character in the story of Joker, a life which she keeps calling entertainment. And of course she brings it back when she abandons Joker, singing by herself, letting him know that it was all just entertainment.
You believe in all that we had dreamed. That's entertainment. Goodbye, Arthur.
But more than any of that, I have to praise, we got some of the best live-action Jokeriness that we've ever gotten, and some great Harley Quinn energy, and a perfect live-action depiction of their relationship, though it is flipped in this retelling. And a lot of that is what? Thanks to that dreadful music. The bond and lust they have for being crazy, matching each other's freak, if you will, is central to their characterization and why every annoying couple wants to kin them. And that much is evident from their very first conversation. Hell, their very first moment! And the music only helps that dynamic, really helping you get lost in the energy and charm of their genuine chaotic and romantic destruction of the world around them. The whole point of Joker Harley's dynamic is that while they are intoxicatingly fun to be around and idolized in a deranged sort of way, they're also defined by major abuse and toxicity in their relationship. And that is defined masterfully in this movie. I mean, come on, tell me. This isn't the most Harley Quinn and Joker thing you've ever seen. And even by themselves, they're spectacular renditions of the character. Gaga's natural New York Italian accent comes through a lot of the time, on purpose, and it gives Harley her accent without making it as exaggerated as some other depictions.
He's never gonna get out if you keep this shit up. Ask her why she has me sitting so far away from him.
Which fits for this style of gritty Gotham, and her delivery and acting for so many scenes has this very nonchalant unhingedness, which really characterizes Harley.
Excuse me? Yeah, thank you.
Joaquin Phoenix has been praised to death for the way his rendition of the Society Joker stole the show. Think Heath Ledger's motives and The Killing Joke. But in this movie, he truly got to be Joker. And I don't just mean the foghorn scene, but even when he's still Arthur, but just feels the Joker in him. So many of these moments feel ripped straight from the comic books, with a sassy, narcissistic, mocking, sarcastic Joker who really has so much fun in his twistedness. Oh, yeah, and of course, the opening Looney Tunes skit.
No man that beats off the cartoons is gonna beat me!
Well, that was a pretty fair review you gave, but I have to say, I don't agree entirely.
Of course you don't, Iron, and neither does anyone else. You people are the cancer of cinema. After everything I said, you still can't see it for the piece of art it is.
Wow, there's so much self-pity on me. It seems that you think this movie is completely perfect, and I'll tell you this, it is definitely flawed.
You're flawed, Iron.
Me? I'm flawed? Oh yeah, am I flawed?
Not like in Joker 2. Kicking me out of your house. You just wanted to use me.
You don't know the first thing about me, pal. Look what happened to what you did, what it led to. You treated me like nothing. You're laughing. You're laughing. I'm nasty because of what you did.
I know. How about another review, Iron?
No, I think I had enough of your reviews.
What do you get when you cross a perfectly made prophet with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash?
I'm warning you, Ami. I'm warning you.
You get what you fucking deserve.
Here's one thing you should have known before coming here, Ami. Never bring a knife to a gunfight. You didn't even let me finish. So here's the big twist that you're too delusional to see. I actually like Joker 2, only not as much as you did. So put that shit down. We'll forget this ever happened, and we'll move on with the show.
Like I said before, I like Joker 2, and trust me, after rewatching the original again recently, I was able to understand the true meaning of that movie before going into the sequel, unlike many. And it makes me kinda sympathize with the haters, cause I've watched it several times and discussed it with others in order to get the themes, and the casual moviegoer usually just sees something once and moves on, so I understand where they're coming from. But for me, as a guy who does get Joker 1, I think it was mostly entertaining. I like the musical parts, especially the first song. The cinematography was beautiful, the acting was super engaging, that cartoon at the beginning that basically summarized the themes of the plot in a Looney Tunes way.
Hey, you be acting like a white dude for real.
I can't say it was a bad time. However, I don't think I would watch this movie again. Hell, I think this movie is way less rewatchable than the original. At least with Joker 1, you can keep watching it and connect all the dots as to how Arthur became Joker, especially since this is the first time we've seen this variant of the iconic character. With Joker 2, however, it expects you to already know that meaning, and because of that, there's nothing to find anymore. It's more like an epilogue than an actual movie. Not just that, but it's not even close to being as memorable as the original. The original is like an adventure, while this one was just not that.
Nice choice of words.
Instead, it was mostly a court drama with some romance. There's nothing equivalent to the Murray scene, and yes, even the ending wasn't as shocking as that. There's nothing like the Wall Street Guys train scene. It's barely suspenseful at all, and because of that, I'm not going to remember the events from this movie all that well after maybe a year or less.
Yeah, already forgot.
But Here's something that was truly unique about this movie. The experience of watching this currently is more memorable than the actual movie itself. Sorry for sounding like an idiot, but let me break it down. I watched this movie on the last day of the opening weekend. It was a Sunday. By this point, I knew that lots of people hated Joker 2. Even the critics I like hated it. I've seen so many articles claiming it was a middle finger to the fans of the original. It was shocking. So I went in thinking, how bad could this movie really be? Then after I came out of the theater, I felt like I just took part in a social experiment. I can't tell if Todd Phillips is telling the truth about this movie not being intentionally meta. There's no way Joker 2 wasn't self-aware in some capacity. Literally, the entire time I was watching the movie, I was trying to connect the dots as to who represents what. Harley and the Joker supporters alone can easily be seen as a metaphor for the audience who didn't understand the last movie. Think about it. A lot of people said they didn't like Joker 2 because they got something different from what they wanted. Instead of getting Joker going crazy again, we see Arthur Fleck being a pretty chill guy while in prison. Why is that? Because he was being treated like a normal person. Why would he need to be Joker at this point? The audience needs to know that the biggest reason why Arthur became Joker in the first place is because he wanted good attention from the public that would usually beat him down. The only reason why he comes back to being Joker in the sequel is because he ran into Harley, someone who glorifies Joker and is just as delusional. Not Arthur Fleck. Joker. When she talks to him about how much she loves Joker from the TV movie, just like most of the audience with the real one, it makes Arthur come back to his delusion because not only he loves the attention he's getting, but he feels redeemed with Harley's love for him. What also didn't help was the people coming back to support him in court, cheering every time he did something outlandish, like firing his lawyer.
What?
Being disrespectful to the judge, and so on. The same people who supported Joker when he killed Murray. They cheered for the riot. They wanted to be like Joker, just like the audience who didn't understand the movie. And another thing they have in common is they both could care less about Arthur in his normal form. Sure, the whole reason why it was satisfying to see Arthur become Joker was because of how society treated him. But when they see him healing, when they see that he's going back to being a normal guy, they're bored. They don't want to see him be a good person. They just want Joker. The only reason why people feel like they've been insulted is probably because they saw themselves in this movie and felt like they were being made fun of. And for those who understood the movie, feel like the hatred for Joker 2 is exactly what got Arthur Fleck becoming Joker in the first place. Knowing the messages of the original, seeing the outrage, figuring out why people dislike this movie, all of it felt connected to each other. Anyone who understands both movies just sees this as the plot coming to life. I've never felt that way for any movie I've seen in the theater. That meta stuff alone makes this movie enjoyable for me, but ignoring that whole meta thing, I still think it's a good sequel, unlike most people. Many people say that this movie was an insult to the original.
Some people are really fucking stupid.
Back to the narrative of Joker 1. The reason why Arthur Fleck became the Joker is because it seemed like there was many benefits with it. People liked him. He had supporters. He seemed to be the most powerful figure in Gotham, aside from Adam West and the Shark Repellent. But still, he felt incredible. But in the sequel, we see the truth that Joker brought more harm than good to Arthur. If we only had the original movie, we would assume that becoming Joker was the best thing that could have happened to Arthur. But in reality, he lost things that he took for granted. For example, Puddles in the original movie was the only one who was nice to Arthur. I mean, they said it in the first movie.
You were the only one that was ever nice to me.
But because of his big turnaround, Puddles is completely tormented by what he's seen in the original, and it changes his life for the worse. Arthur lost his only friend, and it proves that he didn't need to be Joker in order to be liked.
You were the only one at work who never made fun of me. You were the only one who was nice to me.
Another thing it exposed was that Joker really wasn't that powerful of a figure. In the rape scene, as uncomfortable as it is, it proves that even when Arthur is Joker, he can still get hurt. More than just a punch in the face, he could still be a victim. And finally, because of Joker, he started a myth that would never die. His only new friend from the prison in Joker 2, Ricky, supported Arthur's delusion and lost his life because of it. Sure, he was being reckless, but his death could have been easily avoided if Arthur stayed as his true self. The sequel solidifies that Joker was never good for anyone. And you think this goes against the original movie? Guess what, buddy? The same thing happened at the end of Joker 1. Remember when Arthur laughed at the fact that Bruce lost his parents and everyone else who experienced trauma just like he did? Arthur felt so guilty that he had to result in his own delusion again at the end, where he kills his therapist in his imagination in order to feel better. Everything Arthur thought was a benefit while he was Joker turned against him. He's not powerful. He makes his own life worse, and he lost his true friends for some fakes who don't care about him. This is why we see Arthur abolish the Joker at the end of the sequel, and sadly, it was too late to fix anything. When he came back to doing the stupid Joker stuff, that only took away his chance of getting what he actually wants, a new start at life. But what did he get instead? His own death. Saying that Joker 2 was a disgrace to the original is such a stupid thing to say, cause literally everything connects so well to the point it makes understanding the true meaning of Joker 1 way easier than ever.
Okay, that was beautiful. But now I'm just curious, I have to ask, what would you rate Joker 2?
Well, the ideas I had were genius, but I like to rate things based on how I felt while watching the movie. So, again, I don't think it's as memorable as Joker 1, not suspenseful, but I enjoyed the story it tried to tell. So, overall, a 7. Great ideas, but the execution should have been more eventful. Actually, you know what could have made that movie a billion times better? If it included a scene with the song from Pulp Fiction, You Never Can Tell.
Seriously?
Yeah, it fits the things with the 50s, 60s sounding music.
That's a stretch, but sure.
And so, we both like Joker 2, but at the same time we agree that the original was definitely better.
For me, Joker 2 is an 8. More Harley couldn't have hurt, more setup for the new Joker, but still great,
And that was all for tonight's review of Joker 2. So, tune in next time. Thanks for watching.
Listen, Iron, after getting my sanity back, I've realized this whole thing I did was crazy. I'm sorry, and I can't go on like this. Just tell me how to make it up to you and I'll do anything.
Anything?
I would sing and dance if you asked me to. For once in my life.
No, I have a better idea.
A few jonkling minutes later.
What the hell is this? No Harley Quinn outfit, no makeup.
What's next? You want me to take estrogen? Just shut up and focus, okay?
It was a teenage wedding and the old folks wished him well. You could see that Pierre did truly love the mademoiselle. And now the young monsieur and madame have rung the chapel bell. C'est la vie, say the old folks, it goes to show you never can tell. They furnished off an apartment with a 2-room robot sale. The coolerator was crammed with TV dinners and ginger ale. But when Pierre found work, the little money coming worked out well. C'est la vie, c'est